Hello everybody, welcome to another Rick's Picks. Today I'm going to be doing my review of the Masters of the Universe Fright Zone playset. Now I am excited about this. I wanted this ever since I saw it because of the fact that it looked like they made a lot of big improvements on this playset opposed to the original one. Not so sure about the price, but we're going to see if this is actually worth the money that, it costs to get. So, I'd like to say thank you for everybody for watching this video and roll that intro. All right, so here's the Fright Zone in packaging. I love the artwork to the front of this. I think the artwork looks really good. I like the overall look to it. Now, there's a couple of things about this that I find neat. So first off, you got this Skeletor and this He-Man. Now, they're not a version of Skeletor and He-Man that I personally am very familiar with, but I know they were either a concept figures or ones that came out later in the line. I'm not 100% sure, but these might be figures that might be coming out later on in future waves, so we'll definitely keep an eye on those. But it's neat that they have these rarer versions of them on here. You got the classic Masters of the Universe Hordak in the gray, which I love that. Always been a big fan of the gray Hordak. Down here in the corner, you got the dark version of Grizzlor versus the Lords of Power version of Beastman. So that's kind of cool that they went with the Lords of Power with him. The same with Man-at-Arms. If you notice, he's a Lord of Power version, and he doesn't have the iconic mustache. All right. You got the monster coming out of here. You got the not the sorceress, the the original sorceress that Tila was supposed to be able to turn into when she had the headpiece on there. So I do like that. You also have Leech here. You got Montana over there, and Orko, which this Orko looks pretty interesting because he looks evil in that picture. Like, he doesn't look like your standard goofy Orko. He looks twisted. Now, if you look in the cage here, you can see Buzz-Off, but he has a human face. So I'm wondering if that's supposed to be one of the concept version figures that they've been putting out lately. So there's a lot of really cool stuff going on here. And of course, obviously, you got Masters of the Universe, Evil Horde, and the Fright Zone. Spinning around here, this is a continuation of that picture. So you got Masters of the Universe up here, Fright Zone, and you have the premiere version of Triclops. So this isn't the store version. This is actually the version of him that they were going to originally do, but winded up going with, the version that we know. When he showed up in his first appearance in the mini comics, this is how he looked. So I do have that figure as well. Matter of fact, I have most of these figures. So if you want to go back through my playlist and revisit any of them, you can. Come around here. Now you got a neat setup of all the figures and what have you. But as you know, look here, they go back to some of the more classic styles. So right here, you got Battle Armor He-Man, Battle Armor Skeletor. You got the most recognizable version of Beastman. You got Man-at-Arms with the mustache. And you got your standard Triclops over there as well. So they switch back to the normal versions of them. But in here, you got Whiplash opposed to Buzz-Off. So that's pretty cool as well. You got this picture here. That's supposed to be the inside of the Fright Zone. The original playset did not have an inside version. So that was definitely one of the big improvements that they made to this. Come around here. You got another continuation. So you got Modulok here. And you got the Slime Pit. It would be awesome to see them bring back the Slime Pit. I would love to see that. I still have my original one, but it would just be cool to have another version of the Slime Pit. All right. Bring it around this way. Now you got all your different play features. So you have the dragon coming out of its hole. You got Hordak on his throne with the tree who had Skeletor caught up with it. Same here. You got your prison. And you also have the Rock Monster Snatches Warrior Speed type play set. Masters of the Universe, Hordak, Fright Zone. And then last but not least, you got the underneath, which is Masters of the Universe, Fright Zone, a little bit of legal, and a quick picture of it. So, get back up here. With all that being said, let's open this up and see what it's about. So now we're going to take a good look at this dreadful dragon. Now the original one was like a rubber puppet, hand puppet that you used to come out of the Fright Zone. So with this one, they actually made it its own entity, which I kind of like this overall. So first, let's give it a rotation. So you have this side, you got the front, you got this side here. And you got the top, and then you got the underbelly. So now let's see what all it could do. So first, let's take a look at the head of this. So the head does rotate. The jaw opens up and closes. You can also spin the head. All right. So let's take a look at the inside of the mouth and the head. So that's pretty cool. I like the front view as well as I like the side view of it. It just closes up pretty easily. All right, now we'll take a look at the legs. The legs, you only got one joint and then an ankle joint. I think it would have been nice if we would have had a really cool swivel elbow joint on them. But it ain't bad for what you got. And then last but not least, you get some movement in the tail. Not a lot, but you did get some movement. And all 6 legs move the same, so you know, there's no real difference in the movement of the legs and what have you. So that's a pretty good look at the, dreadful dragon. So let's see how easily it is to put this thing together. So first off, you have this piece here, and then you have this piece. Now this is the main body of the Fright Zone. So you hook these pegs together in the center here. Try to get this together for you guys. I wonder if it'll go together easier if it's shut. There you go. All right. Now you got 2 pins, one for the top. You just push on down in there, flip her around, and then you got another one for the bottom. All right, line that up a little bit better. There it goes. All right, so those pins are in. So now you got the front of the Fright Zone. Next, you start putting together your prison. And the front of it. So you got this piece here. And this should just lock into place. Just like that. All right. So now you have the bottom part of your Fright Zone. And now you got your prison piece here. You see. Put the gate on. All right, so you got your 2 hinges here, 1 hinge and 2 hinges. Close it up, and that pops in right here. All right, I guess that just sits just like that. All right, next is this weird tree piece. All right, this root. All right. We'll pop that on next. Now, one thing I've been seeing from people is you got to be careful putting this thing together. I saw people show that certain parts broke, mainly when it comes to the tree. So, okay, this is moving like it should. speak of the devil, let's get to the tree. So you got this piece here. Spin her around. You hook the throne onto it. Alright. Move this aside while you put the tree together. Alright, that popped in. That's in. So there's Hordak's throne. Alright, behind the old wicked tree. And now the tree hooks onto this round piece. Alright, so any particular way. One time assembly, okay. Alright, so the tree is on there. I guess that rotates as need be. So you hook this back together. The tree sits up there just like that. Alright. Push it back a little bit so you can see things a little bit better with this. Alright. So now we go to the back. Spin it around this way. You got the back of the Fright Zone. So on this side, spin this like this. You got this piece here, which locks into here. Or does it go? Oh, it goes this way. Alright. There it goes. Alright, so that's locked into place. And you come around to this side. And this one locks into place here. Boom. Boom. So now that one's in as well. And where does this last tentacle thing go? Alright, so there's one more of these tentacle pieces that go somewhere. Alright, so the last tentacle goes up here on the top. Move it up a little so we can see. And this thing kind of goes just into here, like that. So now that swivels as well. So now our Fright Zone is completely assembled. So now that we got this thing fully assembled, let's start taking a look at, everything that you could do with this. So we have Hordak here. You have to have Hordak with the Fright Zone. You got He-Man. And we also have Skeletor. Now, there ain't much for Hordak here. You can probably have him just looking on and what have you. They show him up there. But a lot of it has to do with traps and stuff to do with your heroes and villains. Alright, so we'll put Hordak to the side right now. So the tree is meant to grip heroes and villains. So if you wanted to grip his leg, you could do that. You could also have Skeletor up here hanging from a leg as well. Alright, so get his leg like that. So now both He-Man and Skeletor are in trouble and what have you. So you could do all sorts of stuff like that with the tree. And it's the same with some of these smaller hooks. Like you could probably take this small hook, spin it around whatever way it spins. This way. You could get one of the smaller ones around a wrist. Let's get rid of the Havoc staff here. So if you want to hook like the smaller one onto a wrist or an arm, you can. And now you have Skeletor dangling from that. So those things seem to work well with the tree. I don't have any issues with that. And then now this is meant to open up and apparently eat your guys as well. Let's move that arm out of the way. All right. So if you want somebody pose being caught up in that, you can. The same with here. You got this other, weird vine just hanging out here for reasons. And you should be able to get it onto his arm, just like that. So if you want He-Man dangling from there, you can. And this thing moves around, so if you want it up, not so much, because what's happening is the weight of He-Man, or the figure, is bringing the root down. That's what it is. It's a root. So, you know, it won't stay up like this. When you have somebody in it, it just drops. All right. So let's get He-Man off of here. All right. Put this back up. So now we'll put He-Man in the prison. There's not a lot to the prison. You just open it up. He goes in there and it closes. All right. No special things to it. And when you get Skeletor off of our tree buddy, got like these little claws here. Nothing really that spectacular. They just kind of close in and kind of trap the legs. As a matter of fact, if we spin it this way, whoops, you can probably see it a lot better. So he gets caught up in that. And I believe that's a similar play feature that the original one had as well. Alright. And also, you can also get somebody trapped in this thing. So you can make it look like they're being eaten by it and what have you. And you also have the crows. So when you move the arms up, you can position these crows on here however you want. So if you want one up on that one, you can. You want a crow up here. Now look in whatever way you want them to. And you could probably even get one on this third random one here. Alright. Just like that. So now you have all these crows on there. You can position them however you want. Now the weird thing about this tree is, if you spin it this way, and you look at these arms here, you can actually see that they're mechanic. Like there's hydraulics in here. You can see it also in this one too. You can see the mechanics and the hydraulics. It'd be kind of cool if they would have actually painted them, like gave them like a silver look, or you know, some sort of metallic look to them. I think that would be pretty neat. The more and more you look at this thing here, you see these patches here. You know, at first I thought they were probably like, you know, loose wood, but what they may be is actual metal plates. So that might have been something neat if they would have put a little bit more detail into that. Maybe made these like an off-colored metal look. But you could definitely see it in the tree branches that, you know, they are designed to be a mechanical tree. So it's not even like an evil wizard tree. It's actually meant to be a mechanical tree. So now that we have looked at the front of this, let's take a good look at the back of this. Now, I think they kind of went chintzy with this. And I'm going to tell you why. Because of the factor, this piece unhooks from here. Alright, eventually. Should pop out. There it goes. Alright, we'll put that aside. And the prison comes off here. And you spin it around this way. And now this hooks into here like this. Alright. So that's hooked on there like that. And then you just reverse the prison around like that. Now, I'm not a big fan of them doing it like this. I think it would have been a lot cooler if the back here had its own back. Just because, for one thing, this is longer. So if I tilt it up like this, oops, let's get this out of the way. If you tilt this up like this, you can see that that front piece doesn't go the full length. So you have all this extra length here that if they would have made something custom to this, it would look a lot better. And of course, his throne turns around. So now you have his throne up here, and you have this as well. And I know they were trying. I understand that they were trying, but I think they could have did a lot better with back here. So you do have this scary looking face in here. All right. Like I said, the prison comes back around here. Just like this. So if you want the prison on the inside, you can have it like that. And what have you. You can actually have this dude try to come through this hole, but he's too big. He's too big for the hole. Alright? So if you look at the hole that he's theoretically supposed to be coming in and out of, he's too big for it. You could like get like maybe like his head through there. Alright? But you're not going to get the whole beast through there. And it's the same with the other direction. If I put him here, let me bring this around so you can see it. You're only getting that much of him out of there. The whole creature will not come through this doorway, so that's a bit of a disappointment. You know, because if they're going to have a hole for this creature to come out of, there should be, you know, he should be able to come all the way out, and he can't. But he do come out the length that I guess the original puppet did. You know, maybe not as far, but I guess that's what they're trying to go for, that he doesn't come all the way out. I don't know. So that's a bit of a disappointment there. So now back to around to the inside here. All right. Like I was saying, I really wish that they could have done something really cool with just a back piece for back here. Then you got his throne up here. So let's get good old Hordak. You know, not a big fan of this throne. I guess this is like this so his cape could fit back here. All right, so the cape kind of holds him in. So he has his little throne up there. And yes, I said little because there's nothing spectacular to it. He sits on it. Okay, cool. But you look at it, it's not a cool looking throne. I mean, Skeletor had a cool looking throne. It had bones. It had a skull on it. It had all sorts of neat things. And his is just, it felt like his throne was like an afterthought. Like somebody sat there and said, well, we got to do something with the back of this tree. What are we going to do with it? I know. Let's put a little throne for Hordak here. I mean, they could have had like the Horde symbol big up here. They could have had so many different ideas of what they could have done with this. And instead, it's like a black and orange throne. All right. The cage opens up. You can put, you know, people in there again. You know, what have you. You got this rack here. This is for the weapons that come with it. So it comes with the standard. Here, let's put it here. Standard Horde crossbow. Okay. You also have your standard Horde staff. This usually comes with the Horde troopers. The crossbow usually comes with, you know, most of your main Horde characters. And then you have this red laser here, which is similar to Mosquito's ray gun. Alright. So now let's get into this stuff. So we put weapons up here. Alright. See if there's a particular order to any of this. Look at the weapons rack. Okay, so this goes here. Eventually, there it goes. So that hooks on there. Matter of fact, let's move this so we can see this a little bit better. Alright, that's... Oh, there it goes. Alright. So now you can see that rack a little bit better. So that goes there. This is supposed to go here. Like that. Alright. Get our crossbow. And the crossbow hooks onto here somehow. Oh, okay, it clips into here. So there's all your weapons on your weapons rack. Alright, just push this back in here like this. And this don't add or take anything away. You still have this piece here and what have you. So one other thing you do have is you do have this little prison here. So this opens up. Put He-Man in there. Closes up on him. And now He-Man's stuck in there. So that's the inside of the Fright Zone. And it's okay. You know, it ain't spectacular. It's better than nothing, I guess, at this point in time. So let's get into my final thoughts with this. So first off, everything went together pretty well on it. I didn't have any issues putting this thing together. All the play features play as they were, said to play. So, gates open, claws work in the bottom, the tree does all the tree stuff and what have you. So all that works very well. They work very well with the figures as shown and what have you. The dragon is a cool piece. I like how they did the dragon. I think it's an overall really neat thing. And I also like that, unlike the original, this actually has an inside to it. The original one was just the front like this, and that's all you got, and it was even less than what you see here. So those are all the good things about it. Now let's get into some of the bad things about it. One, I don't like the factor that the dragon can't come all the way out of this hole. Either they should have made it a hair smaller or even made the hole just a hair bigger, just enough so it can actually come out of there or in. I don't like so much that you can't get it through there. The other thing I think is kind of a bummer with this is when you flip it around to the back, instead of giving the back like its own, floor, they just take this and bring it around to the back. I don't like that because I think they missed an opportunity there to do something really cool. Just have something separate that looks neat and unique for the Fright Zone. So, I feel like that was a big missed opportunity. And I wasn't a big fan of Hordak's throne. I feel like it was kind of basic and boring and that they could have did so much more with that to make it look a lot cooler. Matter of fact, even if they would have added like a floor into the back here, that would have been a good spot for a throne. They could have put a throne there for them, a custom-made throne similar to Skeletor's that came with Snake Mountain. So I feel like there were some missed opportunities with this that could have made this thing from just being a cool playset to a great playset. But, so with that being said, would I recommend this? Yeah, I would. $90 was a little bit steep. It's basically $10 more than what Grayskull was. And the dragon kind of makes it worth that, I guess. It's a little bit on the teeter for me, whether it's a little too expensive or just right for what it is. It's half the size of Grayskull, by the way. But for the most part, I think it's cool. It's definitely an improvement on the original. Like 100% of an improvement for the original. And I do feel like it is a good display piece to put your Horde figures on. So I would recommend this for anybody who is a Masters of the Universe fan. So with that being said, I hope you guys did like this video. If you did, go ahead and check out my Masters of the Universe playlist and hit that like, share, and subscribe. They're all small clicks for you, but it really helps this channel grow. So until the next one, late.